everyone, we are right now in Glasgow, Scotland, and we would like to share 2 days of itinerary with you. You can spend over the weekend. Behind me is the University of Glasgow, founded in 1451. This beautiful Gothic-style building was built only in 1870s because its original site was near Glasgow Cathedral. Over the centuries, university educated some remarkable people, including economist Adam Smith, physicist Lord Kelvin, and the scientist Alexander Fleming. East and West quadrangles you see over here, among the most iconic spaces in all over the campus. At the center, you will see the famous tower of University of Glasgow, Bell Tower. Quadrangles are used for the gatherings, student events, and the celebrations. But on top of this place is the most photographed place in all over the Glasgow because it looks like really a scene from the Hogwarts. Closely, you will recognize the lion and the unicorn sculptures, and according to university tradition, rubbing the unicorn horn bring a good luck in during the exam. I would definitely try that. After a short walk from University of Glasgow, I'm at the Kelvin Bridge now. Next stop is Kelvingrove Art and Gallery Museum. Behind me, you see the bell tower which is visible at the west end of Glasgow. To the Kelvingrove Art and Gallery Museum in the main hall, the first thing that you see will be the floating heads. This is an interesting piece of work. When you just take a look at carefully, you will see the different feelings represented: joy, anger. The British people, Spitfire is an iconic aircraft that we can see on top of my head. Charles Mackintosh contributed a lot to a Glasgow style as an architect and a designer. So one of his works on the top of my head, we can see easily, and you can see and find out some of his works in the below Tier 2. Also take a look at and search a bit about his wife's work, Margaret Mackintosh. Just learned that only a powerful man can just afford such a big stone coffin. Did you know that young Glasgow art dealers spent few months in 1887 in the same plot in Paris with Vincent van Gogh? At that time, he posed for his portrait. We are in the Scottish Figures in Art Gallery. At the back of me, you see the painting, The Last of the Clan, which is depicting how the Scottish families were forced to leave their home during the Highland clearances. Park, which is built in 1852. That was built in Victorian time by Sir Joseph Paxson. And that was the first purpose-built park for the people in Scotland. So that's important in that manner. The story is, during the Industrial Revolution time, the West End population was rising, and there was a need to create for the people of Glasgow a space where they can just enjoy their time. Nowadays, as you can see during this sunny day of Glasgow, this park is exactly serving for the same purpose. In the back of my side right now, you will see the Kibble Palace, and we will go back and just talk about the history of the Kibble Palace and how it was just built. Kibble Palace at the moment. Well, you look at this and say that it's just a giant glass house, but actually it's not the case, and it starts with the history by John Kibble. John Kibble is a Victorian entrepreneur, eccentric, engineer, and then he just built this giant glass house next to his home in Loch Long. And then after that, they wanted something remarkable for the Glasgow Botanical Garden. What they did, they dismantled everything, transported by carriages, and just rebuilt over here in Botanical Garden. Over here you can see lots of species, especially my favorites, National Collection of Tree Fern. Fun fact, John Kibble invented floating bicycle, and he was the only man ever who had cycled across the Loch Long on floats. Obviously, he's an interesting guy. Ashton Lane is a vibrant back street of Glasgow's West End. It became famous after ubiquitous cheap restaurant moved here. Either you are fancy for a supper or a craft beer, you can come here and enjoy your time during the evening or afternoon. What makes this place very special is it is the only medieval church which stayed intact from the Reformation, while the others were either damaged or destroyed. Over 800 years it still stands here. And this cathedral was built in honor of the Saint Mungo, who is the patron saint and the founder of Glasgow. From this angle of the building, it's easy to see the cathedral's Gothic-style architecture. Welcome to the Bridge of Say. Behind me you see the Glasgow's Necropolis, which is a Victorian cemetery, also known as City of Dead. So the cemetery was built in 1831. Behind me you see the right now William Gavin Monument. You can find some of the most famous people's monuments in Necropolis as well, like John Henry Alexander and John Knox. Around 50,000 people buried here, and you can find 3,500 tombs and monuments in the Necropolis. Some of the monuments even designed by the famous architect and the designer of the Glasgow, Charles Mackintosh. As you can imagine, at that time during the Victorian era, the people of Glasgow and the wealthiest people of the Glasgow wanted to build something later on which will reflect the ambition, status and wealth of the city. At the moment, we are in the Buchanan Street, which is the second busiest street all over the UK, right after London's Oxford Street. You will see the bits and pieces of the Victorian architecture all over the street. And if you would like to touch on a bit of the history, it is named after Andrew Buchanan, who was a wealthy tobacco lord. While getting around the Buchanan Street, you will easily recognize the steel-made entrance to the Princess Square shopping mall. Either you are fancy for a cup of coffee or would like to have an afternoon tea, I assure you you will enjoy your time by looking into this beautiful design. Approaching to the Gallery of Modern Art, in front of it you will see the statue of Duke Wellington. Duke Wellington is basically known with defeating the Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. The most important thing that you will recognize is the traffic cone on top of his head. This shows the sense of humor of Glaswegians, and the council tried to remove the cone from the head of Duke of Wellington, but within 5 days it was reappearing again. Around the base of the statue you will see the carvings which are depicting the scenes from the Wellington military successes. I'm in Haiti right now to get our refreshments. I'm a big fan of matcha. So if you love the plain taste of matcha, the bitter taste, which I really big fan of, so you can definitely try this triple supreme matcha latte. You will get the taste of matcha itself, really good.